How one smile and epic cooking changed a billionaire's life forever. The shocking truth. The night was charged with an electric hum, as if the world itself held its breath. In a dimly lit penthouse overlooking the city, all eyes were on one man, billionaire Jasper Phelps. Just days ago, he was a power player, feared and respected in equal measure. But now? He was about to have his life flipped upside down by a simple smile and a home-cooked dish. Crazy, right? But this wasn't just any meal. As whispers filled the room, a mysterious woman, delicate yet fierce, stepped forward with a tray. The air was thick with tension. What was it about her that held them all captive? Was it her shimmering, deep green eyes that seemed to beckon every onlooker, or was it the unique blend of spices wafting from the dish she carried? The scent danced through the air, teasing nostrils with hints of something foreign yet oddly familiar. It was almost as if the aroma wove a spell. Every head turned, every heart pounded, but it wasn't just the meal that was peculiar. Jasper, a man who had faced countless investors and negotiations without a flicker of vulnerability, suddenly felt a lump form in his throat. Who was this woman? What power did she hold? And her recipe, it contained a secret ingredient that nobody could place. It wasn't just delicious, it was intoxicating. He was compelled, driven by an urge he couldn't quite explain. A voice in the back of his mind whispered of choices and consequences, but the curiosity was too great. Just then, a snap and unwanted flash from an eager camera shattered the moment, causing a ripple of murmurs throughout the crowd. "Did you see that? They're all over her," came a voice, dripping with envy. Another one chimed in, "What's her story?" The questions hung in the air, heavy with speculation. And for a split second, the tension escalated as if everyone sensed they were on the threshold of something incredible or dangerous. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Just when it seemed chaos would break loose, Jasper took a step forward, his heart racing. He locked eyes with the woman, and in that brief moment, the world around them faded. "I'll try it," he declared, his voice resolute. But as he reached for the dish, uncertainty flickered across his features. What if that little bite led to a lifetime of regrets? What if this meal unlocked a truth that shattered everything he knew? With a trembling hand, Jasper lifted the fork, and for the first time, he could taste the hint of destiny on his lips. What would happen next? Was he ready for what was to come? The moment the fork met the dish, everything shifted. Jasper's heartbeat echoed in his ears, drowning out the murmurs of the crowd. Time seemed to blur. He could hardly focus on the surroundings, the glitz and glamour fading, leaving only the embedded hush of anticipation. As he pierced the first bite, delicate warmth burst in his mouth. Flavors exploded like fireworks on the 4th of July. It wasn't just food, it was a revelation. Spices danced on his tongue, rich and comforting yet unfamiliar, stirring memories he hadn't known existed. As the first swallow slid down, his chest tightened. Every eye was glued to him, breaths bated. What would he reveal? Suddenly, he was swept away. Visions flared behind his eyes, a small kitchen, the smell of earthy herbs, laughter echoing through steamy windows, and a comforting voice guiding him. "Remember, Jasper, we always cook with love." The images were painful and glorious all at once. Was this moment really rooted in his past? Jasper's grip on the fork faltered as he struggled to contain a swell of emotion. Glancing up, he met her gaze, the mysterious woman. Light danced in her emerald depths, a knowing smile gracing her lips. She was unbothered by the crowd, rooted in something deeper, a connection they shared, but how? He wasn't sure, but this feeling unspooled something within him. A curiosity ignited, a yearning unmasked, then, chaos erupted. The audience, once enraptured, erupted in indignation, voices rising in a cacophony of judgment. "What a fool!" hissed one incredulous guest, their envy leaking into scorn. "Does he have any idea what he's doing?" Another voice chimed, heavy with disdain. But amidst the noise, Jasper was oblivious. He was lost in her presence, drawn into the storm brewing in the penthouse. Suddenly, the woman stepped closer, her voice low and fierce. "The taste, it will show you who you are." But be warned, her eyes blazed with intensity. "You might not like what you find." Her warning hung in the air, thick and foreboding. Jasper, caught in her spell, took another bite. This one was different, sharper, awakening something buried deep. With each mouthful, shadows began swirling at the edges of his mind, whispering secrets long locked away. He could feel them thrumming closer, threatening to unravel his neatly constructed facade. But the taste was intoxicating, it pulled him in, a siren's call to a storm he knew lay ahead. He could almost hear the city outside, teeming with life, oblivious to his shifting reality. What had once been a safe harbor was now beginning to feel like a prison. As part of him yearned to escape, another part craved the truth hiding behind those flavors. Just then, a crash echoed from the rooftop. The sudden jolt shocked everyone into silence, all eyes darting towards the source, hearts racing in sync. Jasper's heart thundered, but it wasn't just fear. There was a strange exhilaration bubbling beneath the surface. What had he unleashed by tasting her dish? And as the murmurs merged with tension, he met the woman's gaze once more. Everything shifted. She seemed to know something he didn't. Before he could voice his questions, another loud thud reverberated through the building, shaking it to its very core. "Jasper, we need to leave." Her voice snapped, urgency melting into their charged silence. And then the power went out. The room plunged into darkness, panic rippling through the crowd. Frantic whispers echoed against the walls, but all Jasper could think was, what lay ahead in this abyss? What secrets and truths awaited in the shadows? Would he dare to follow? Would they all be trapped in something he couldn't escape from? As silence enveloped them, one thing was undeniable. The night was just beginning, and every flickering candle was a shadow beckoning him closer. The darkness swallowed the room, a thick fog that consumed their breaths and drowned out every sound. Jasper's heart echoed in his ears, a steady drumbeat heralding his rising anxiety. He blinked, but the shadows only deepened, twisting and flickering along the walls as if alive. He felt his pulse quicken, the weight of the unknown pressing against his chest. "Stay close to me," the woman urged, her voice a lifeline in the murky void. He could barely make out her silhouette, but the urgency in her tone pierced through the overshadowing fear. "Why? What's happening?" he stammered, feeling the swell of chaos around them, whispers mingling with the palpable tension. "We don't have time to explain. Just trust me." Her hand found his, warm and grounding. He felt the world spin around them, his instincts at war, fear clamoring to bolt, and the need to understand gripping his gut tightly. Without waiting for a response, she tugged him forward. They slipped through the trembling crowd, who felt just as lost, their anxiety thickening the air. Jasper could sense the collective dread, bodies brushing past him, the chaos like a tightrope that threatened to snap. "Do you know what's going on?" he asked again, trying to pierce the fog of confusion. The questions burned on his tongue, but the woman was intent on moving, guiding him down a narrow corridor that veered away from the tangle of fear. "Not fully, but something's awakened, and we need to be ready." "Ready for what?" He wanted to scream, but he forced the words down. Instead, the grip of her hand steadied him, a lifeline he never knew he needed. Where her touch landed, warmth spread, melting the chill of uncertainty. Reaching an emergency exit, she pushed the door open. Cold night air rushed in, biting at his skin. They stepped together onto a rooftop terrace, the city sprawling beneath them, alive and vibrant, oblivious to the tempest swirling in that penthouse. Starlight flickered overhead, but even those twinkling beacons felt muted against the fraying edges of his reality. "What did that food do to me?" he whispered, finally letting the question hang. Flashes of ancient kitchens and echoing laughter still danced in his mind, a haunting symphony of flavors and memories clawing at the surface. The dish wasn't merely sustenance. It's a catalyst. Her voice was low but firm, drawing his focus. You tasted something that stirs the soul, Jasper. And it brings everything, every memory, every fear crashing back. Not everyone is ready for that. A shiver raced down his spine as she spoke. What lay hidden inside him? Was this experience a blessing or a curse? Behind them, the door burst open, shouts erupting from the chaos within. An avalanche of panicked voices rushed out, a tide against the stillness of the night. We've got to get out of here. Someone screamed, and he turned, feet shifting involuntarily toward the impending storm. Wait. He shouted, the words tumbling out, desperate and demanding. What do they want? The truth, she said, her gaze fixed on him with an intensity that sent goosebumps racing across his skin. And you must decide if you'll face it. Panic surged. The night felt electric. Jasper could feel the weight of every choice crammed within the storm of chaos, the shadows around them swirling with unfathomable whispers. Truths about himself, the city, and that mysterious dish awaited revelation. Are you ready to embrace who you are? She asked, eyes bright, pulling him from the cascading noise. Just then, the familiar thud echoed once more, closer this time. The people surged toward them, a mass of confusion and desperation. What would happen if he took that leap? Would he unravel everything he had known? Jasper's heart raced. He had to decide. In that moment, the shadows loomed ominously, and he felt deathly close to the edge, and there it was, a choice that could change everything. Would he leap into the darkness, or draw back into the safety of the dancing candlelight? The whispers swirled around him, urging him onward. What secret lay beyond the storm, waiting for him to uncover? The moment hung in the air like a suspended breath. Jasper's hands trembled, caught between the warmth of the woman beside him and the cold dread swelling within. He felt the pulse of the chaos behind him, an angry river rushing onward, determined to consume them both. Do we run? He asked, the words slipping out in a frantic whisper. No. We face it. Her voice sliced through the confusion, fierce and unyielding. She seemed to radiate a strength he didn't possess. In that moment, her eyes locked onto his, pulling him from the edge of panic. He nodded at her intensity, but uncertainty knitted its way through his veins. Then the crowd erupted closer, a stampede of bodies like thunder rolling from the depths of the blackened corridor. Fear pressed down on him, making it hard to breathe. But first, he had to understand. What do you mean, the truth? His throat ran dry as he steadied himself against the edge of the rooftop, the city lights urging him to leap into the unfamiliar. That food unlocked a part of you, something you've buried deep. And now it's demanding to be recognized, she explained, her voice growing softer but no less urgent. You tasted the echoes of who you are meant to be. What if I'm not ready? The question clawed at him like a desperate animal trying to escape. You won't know until you try. Just then, the door to the stairwell slammed against the wall, swinging wide. A figure stood silhouetted against the flickering light, tall, fearsome, and oddly familiar. The look on their face twisted Jasper's gut. It was a face from his memories, the kind you don't think about but can't forget. Jasper. The silhouette roared, the voice booming across the rooftop. You have to come back now. Back? Back where? Panic sliced through Jasper's thoughts. What was happening? Nowhere. He's not who you think he is. The woman interjected sharply, her grip tightening around his wrist. Her eyes glinted with both urgency and fear, and Jasper felt as if the weight of the world was pushing down on him harder than ever. Yeesh. How many twists do I need? He thought, frustration boiling below the surface. Listen to me, Jasper. The figure shouted again, stepping into the dim light. It was his old friend, Tyler, the last person he expected to see now rumored to be deep in the corporate world, far from this pandemonium. You need to come back. They're coming for you. The Dark Ones. He broke off, breathless, panic in his own eyes. Dark Ones? Jasper's heart raced. The shadows around them seemed to pulse with new life, swirling at the mention of those terrible words. Tyler squared his shoulders, defiance lighting up his face. The ones who made that dish you ate. They want it back. What is happening? Jasper cried, torn between reality and the creeping insanity of the moment. They'll kill you to keep their secrets. Tyler shouted, his voice cutting through the din. Just then, the rooftop flickered under strange shadows, darting around like anxious spirits, creeping ever closer. The woman turned to Jasper, almost pleading. You have to decide now. Embrace this, face them, or run. But know that choosing to run could cost you everything you've ever loved. The conflict raged inside him. Would he betray his past and run, or dive headfirst into whatever horrifying truth awaited him? As chaos loomed, the edges of darkness unfolded in anticipation. I don't know what to do. Jasper gasped. The electric air around them thickened, live wires ready to strike. Before he could make a choice, the figures surged forward, and Jasper's world spun as his mind blurred with echoes of whispers promising darkness. Would he leap into the storm and face his fears? In that moment of indecision, a crash reverberated through the night, and Jasper knew the shadows were tightening their grip around him. But what was the secret hidden in the dish? What terrifying truth awaited if he chose to confront the darkness? Jasper's heart thundered, the chaotic energy around him felt almost alive. The shadows danced menacingly on the rooftop, swirling with an urgency that was both terrifying and exhilarating. He caught a glimpse of Tyler's frantic expression, desperation etched deep into his features. Time seemed suspended, a fraying thread threatening to snap. Jasper, we don't have time. Tyler's voice broke through the haze. We need to move before they find us. But where could they go? The path down the stairs was a cage of panic, the thrumming chaos behind them was growing louder and more frenzied. The woman beside him, her grip firm, met his gaze head-on. You have to trust me. Each moment we delay, they pull us closer into their web. It felt surreal, every word and every sound wrapping around him like a heavy fog. He could sense the very fabric of his life shifting beneath his feet. What if this was the moment when everything changed? What if embracing the chaos filled in that forgotten part of him? You tasted something powerful, she continued, urgency lacing her voice. You can use it. But you've got to decide to stand up and fight. Fight? The weight of that word rattled through him. The idea of confronting whatever malevolent force awaited felt both terrifying and intoxicating. But then, Tyler surged forward, wild-eyed, and pointed toward the staircase, shadows melding behind him like a threatening army. Don't listen to her. He yelled. You can't possibly trust anyone in this mess. They're manipulating you. The darkness felt closer, an encroaching tide that throbbed like a heartbeat, ready to swallow him whole. The woman's intensity flickered, but she rallied quickly, calling out over the chaos. Tyler might not see it, but they've already taken enough from us. You are more than just their pawn. Jasper struggled with his breathing. The fierce need to know the truth pulsed beneath his skin, a warmth teasing at the edges of his fear. Tell me what I need to do. He shouted, his voice rising over the cacophony. Was facing the unknown worth the risk? Take my hand. The woman stepped forward, her face resolute. We enter the shadows together. We'll discover the truth behind the darkness. For a moment, the world shrank to just her eyes, intense, fierce, filled with a determined light. She reached out, and he felt an electric pull toward her. It was as if he could sense the depths of her conviction wrapping around him, not as a shield but as a surge of strength. Jasper. Tyler's shout sliced through the night, a last-ditch effort to bring him back. You have to listen to reason. We were friends, remember? Friends. But trust felt like a flimsy puppeteer's string, frayed and worn. Jasper's thoughts tangled in a haze of memories, a life shaped by camaraderie and loyalty, yet each was surging forward into the terrifying unknown. Without realizing it, he took a small step closer to her, searching for courage in the depths of her gaze. Just say the word, she urged, her voice steady yet soft, and we'll face them. The shadowy figures were no longer just memories swirling around them, they were tangible threats, nearing with purpose. Heart racing, Jasper glanced back at Tyler. His friend's expression was an amalgamation of fear and desperation, begging him to reconsider. But somewhere deep inside, a memory flickered, a promise given and then discarded, echoes of his true self hidden beneath layers of expectation and fear. "I'll do it," he stammered, taking her hand, that single act drawing him into a unity of purpose. As they plunged into the encroaching shadows, the air crackled with anticipation. The dark veil was no longer an enemy, it was a doorway. And then a surge of energy and awakening, like a primal fire ignited in the depths of him. But what would they find on the other side of that dark portal? It was a question that rumbled through his mind even as they stepped into the unknown, leaving behind the pieces of their former lives. What awaited them in the abyss could lead to revelation, or devastation, and the truth was slowly surfacing, twisting with an urgency that churned the air. Would they emerge whole, or would their decisions shatter everything they had known? The shadows swallowed them whole, an inky darkness that felt alive, shifting and pulling Jasper deeper into its embrace. He squeezed the woman's hand tight, the warmth of her grip grounding him as the world he knew faded away. With a blink, they found themselves in a vast expanse, a brick-lined alleyway, littered with twisted scraps of what looked like memories. Faint whispers filled the air, ethereal voices echoing secrets he longed to understand. A cold shudder ran down his spine. "Where are we?" he asked, panic slicing through the haze of anticipated power. "This is the threshold," the woman said, her voice steady in the chaos. "A place between our reality and theirs. Here, we can uncover the truth." And just like that, something shifted. The shadows began to take form, morphing into figures he recognized, the faces of lost friends, of Tyler, distorted yet familiar. Their mouths moved silently, their eyes full of unspoken words, pleading, warning. The tension in Jasper's chest tightened, seeing vivid memories intertwining with this new realm. The woman sensed his hesitation. "Look closer. See what they're really trying to show you." Heart racing, Jasper squinted, the figures sharpening. Tyler's face flickered in the darkness, a question twisting his features. "Jasper. You can't trust her. You don't know what you're getting into." Fury spiked in Jasper's veins. "But they've already taken so much." He fired back, clenching his fists. "I can't just stand by." The truth of his friend's fear dug deep, but was it fear or something darker? The woman stepped closer, her eyes igniting a fire within him. "What if this is the key to everything? This is a chance to reclaim your strength." Stepping away from the swirling shadows, she beckoned him forward. "You need to confront your memories. Only then can we break the cycle they've trapped us in." Jasper hesitated. Memories tangled, mixing with the newfound energy bursting inside him. Each memory felt like a trap cloaked in nostalgia, a million moments weighed down by regret. He took a deep breath, stepping toward the flickering assembly of shapes. He felt the power surge again, a warmth flooding the space he felt beneath his skin. As he began to focus, the figures transformed. Tyler stood there clearly now, his expression forging into one of determined defiance. "You're more than this. More than their game. Remember our purpose." But had he? The uncertainty gnawed him as another figure appeared, his younger self, naive and unprotected, waving at him, begging him to remember who he used to be. Suddenly, a loud cracking echoed around them, the air vibrating with energy. A shadow loomed larger from behind the figures, an ominous presence that twisted the very fabric of the world around them. Jasper's heart raced. "Jasper." The woman's voice cut through his fear. It's behind you. He turned slowly. The darkness solidified, a monstrous entity looming, whispers melding into a horrible roar that rattled his bones. Tendrils of smoke reached out, coiling around him like serpents, pulling him toward despair. Fight it! The woman shouted, pulling him back with fierce urgency, and then, it happened. Jasper felt a flicker of anger ignite deep within, a potent force that took hold of the darkness. It hit him like a bolt of electricity, dizzying yet freeing. Enough! He shouted, an unexpected confidence surging. Would this be the moment to reclaim himself, to stand up against whatever tried to claim him? Bracing for a confrontation, he surged forward, adrenaline pushing him beyond fear. But what lay waiting for him would test every ounce of resolve he had. What did the shadows truly want from him? And more horrifyingly, what kind of power would he unleash if he dared to defy their influence? The air shifted, heavy with portent. The confrontation was about to reach a fever pitch, tearing through the veil of the past. Would he stand tall, or would the darkness swallow him whole? Jasper took a step forward, the echoes of the past swirling around him like a tempest. The dark entity loomed behind him, sending shivers down his spine. Its presence felt like an electric storm ready to burst, crackling with energy that hungered for his fear. Confront it, Jasper, urged the woman beside him, her voice breaking through the chaos. Each word was a tether, pulling him back from the brink of despair. You are stronger than you realize. But doubt gnawed at him, whispering that this was just the beginning of his destruction. What if his anger unleashed something far worse? What if it only fueled the darkness? He shook his head, grounding himself in the heat of her encouragement. The realization struck him then the entity thrived on despair, and fear was its banquet. Who are you? He yelled, his voice surprisingly steady amidst the fear. What do you want? A deep, reverberating laugh echoed in response, shaking the very ground beneath his feet. I am what you fear most, Jasper. I am your regret, your unfulfilled potential. Shadows twisted around the entity, a monstrous mass of swirling black limbs. You've tried to bury me, ignore me. But here, I am. And I will consume you. You won T. Jasper shouted back with unexpected fierceness. The pulse in his veins quickened, anger and determination combining in a fierce cocktail. You don't own me. Light sparked in his chest, a warm glow that surged beneath the surface like a volcano ready to erupt. Drawing strength from the woman's presence, he harnessed that anger. I refuse to let you drown me in my past. I remember who I am. With that proclamation, the shadows recoiled slightly, as if struck. Jasper felt the energy swell, a surge that built and built until it overflowed. He thrust his hands forward, palm out, feeling the heat radiate from within. I won't run from you anymore. A blinding brightness erupted from his hands, illuminating the darkness around him. The shadowy entity shrieked, an otherworldly sound that pierced Jasper's mind, but he held firm, his heart pounding with every ounce of strength he could muster. The shadows writhed as if they were alive, shrieking and twisting in response to the light. Jasper's breath hitched, the intoxicating rush of power coursing through him, fueling him. You don't define me. He yelled, pushing against the darkness with everything inside him. With a deafening crack, the bright light expanded, enveloping the night like a dawn breaking through. The shadows shattered, splintering into billions of fragments that floated away like ashes caught in the wind. A moment of silence followed, the oppressive pressure releasing its hold on him, but the victory felt hollow. What had he truly defeated? Jasper glanced at the woman, her eyes filled with awe and uncertainty. Had she known he could unlock such power within himself? Jasper, she said, voice trembling, this is only the beginning. There are deeper truths you still need to uncover. The shadows might have retreated, but they will come back. He swallowed hard, absorbing her words. The memories began to swirl again, this time with an underlying sense of urgency. He had glimpsed the raw essence of his strength, yet shadows still lurked nearby. What do you mean? He asked, dread creeping back. What more lies ahead? The woman leaned closer, a glimmer of hope amidst the uncertainty. There's more you have to remember. Your journey isn't just about confronting the darkness, it's about discovering the light within and what that truly means. Just then, a low rumbling echoed in the distance, growing louder, vibrating through the space. Jasper's heart raced. What now? The darkness had retreated, but it felt like a storm was brewing in the distance, threatening to return with a vengeance. He steeled himself, knowing that the next confrontation would push him further than ever before. Then let us find out the truth. We have to keep moving. As they stepped into that swirling uncertainty, an unnerving thought gripped Jasper. What new horrors awaited in the shadows, and what if the truth he was unearthing was more devastating than the darkness itself? The air thickened as Jasper and the woman moved deeper into the encroaching night. He noted the silence that followed the chaos, an eerie calm that buzzed with potential danger. Each step felt like 100 eyes were watching him, ready to pounce. He couldn't shake the feeling that he was being pulled into a trap. Do you feel that? He whispered, the tension in his voice palpable. He scanned the horizon, the shadows still clinging to the corners of his vision. They felt alive, waiting for their moment. The woman nodded slowly, her brow furrowed. Yes. It's not over yet. The deeper truth waits ahead, but you must be ready for what you might find. A chill rushed through him. What were they walking into? He focused on her eyes, finding the strength he needed. Just tell me what to do. Trust in yourself. Remember the light, she encouraged, her hand grasping his tightly. The warmth of her grip sent a ripple of hope through him, but the shadows seemed to thicken with each passing heartbeat. A sudden shriek cut through the stillness, echoing like a banshee in the night. Jasper flinched at the sound, heart racing. What was that? Panic clawed at his throat. Keep moving, she urged, propelling him forward as they darted down a darkened passageway lined with old stone walls. The noise intensified, twisting into a chorus of voices that shouted accusations, failures, and regrets. You'll have to face what lies within you, Jasper. I can't, he began to protest. That's the fear talking, she interrupted fiercely. Face it head on. Claim your truth. This is part of the journey. In that moment, the ground beneath them trembled, as if the earth itself was restless with memories. Jasper stumbled, but the woman held firm. The shadows writhed on the periphery, dark tendrils stretching out, grasping for him. Look, she exclaimed, her finger pointing toward a faint luminescence that broke through the darkness ahead. That's the source. We must reach it. Each step felt heavier than the last, dread pulling him back as if the shadows were loath to release him. Images flickered through his mind, lost loves, missed opportunities, nights spent doubting himself. The entity from earlier loomed larger, feeding on these memories. Then, another voice, echoing deep within, a sweet melody, filled with warmth, as if it belonged to someone he knew. Don't let it take you, Jasper. You are not your mistakes. You are more than the darkness around you. Who's there? He shouted, pain and curiosity swirling in tandem. Remember who you are. The voice echoed again. Find your light. The light shimmered brighter like a beckoning beacon, urging him forward. He felt the resolve building inside him, filling every crevice of doubt. In an instant, anticipation shifted to rage, mixed with courage. He was done running, done hiding. Come what may, he murmured, eyes narrowing, I won't let you take me again. With renewed determination, he stepped toward the light, abandoning the suffocating shadows at his back. As he approached, a violent surge of energy flared, blinding him momentarily. He couldn't tell whether it was fear or exhilaration, but the realization hit him like a tidal wave. This was his moment. Then, with a thunderous roar, the shadows hurled themselves at him, and just when Jasper thought he could escape, he was enveloped in darkness again. The sensation was suffocating, a cold grip pulling him down, deeper into despair. But he remembered her words. The light within him pulsed, igniting every corner of his being. He roared back, unleashing everything he had. "Show yourself!" he bellowed, fighting against the darkness, but was it too late? In that moment, Jasper was left wondering, what if the light wasn't enough? What awaited him on the other side of the shadows? The darkness churned, and the confrontation loomed closer, a storm on the horizon. Whatever awaited him next could shatter him or finally set him free. Jasper's heart raced as the darkness closed in, a weight on his chest, pressing hard against him. He could taste the cold bitterness of fear on his tongue, and the shadows around him twisted and whirled, every dark whisper clawing at his psyche. He felt like a spirit dragged through the underworld, fighting for a breath of air that was always just out of reach. Suddenly, the woman's voice cut through the din, sharp and clear. "You must believe. The moment of truth is near." Truth? The word fell from his lips like a desperate plea, but he felt an ember of hope ignite within. "What truth?" "Yours. It lies beneath the surface," she insisted, her voice echoing in the dark, guiding him through. "Let go of what binds you." The shadows recoiled at her words, swirling dangerously like a storm. Each breath shook with the energy of suppressed memories, painful and vivid as they scattered around him, clawing for recognition. He could see them, the faces of those he'd lost, the laughter of days long gone, and the regret that clung tighter than the suffocating darkness. "Face them, Jasper," she shouted, her grip unyielding, refusing to let him falter. In that moment, he realized he wasn't alone, even here, in the heart of despair. "Fear is just a storyteller," he yelled back, the truth hitting him with a sudden clarity, like a flash of lightning illuminating a darkened sky. He felt a swell of rage against the shadows that had haunted him for so long. "You have no power over me." With those words, he surged forward, pushed by her unwavering belief in him and his own simmering defiance. The light ahead pulsed with warmth, drawing him in. It felt like a promise, a chance at redemption. And then, with each step, the oppressive weight of the darkness began to peel away, flickering in frustration like flames retreating against the wind. Suddenly, as he neared the source of light, a figure emerged from the shadows, a silhouette cloaked in darkness, yet somehow radiant. It was a ghostly form, a reflection of everything he had feared and denied, his own self. "Jasper," it whispered, its voice a haunting echo of his own. "Will you finally see me?" His breath hitched, emotions crashing over him like tidal waves. This was no mere shadow, it was his past. The sins he had buried deep, the mistakes he had hidden away. And yet, there was something else there too, the potential he had overlooked, the strength that existed within the fractures. "I know you," he cried, rage mixing with sorrow. "You are not my enemy. You are my truth." As he spoke, the chilling grip of despair melted like ice in the sun. The shadows shrieked, unable to bear the light of his acceptance. Jasper felt the warmth spread from his heart, washing over him, knitting together the pieces of himself that had long been torn apart, but just as quickly as the darkness began to recede, treacherous whispers slithered back, coiling around them both like a serpent ready to strike. "You really think you can overcome me, Jasper?" the figure hissed, its eyes burning like coals in contrast to the light that surrounded him. "You can't escape your past." The shadows laughed maliciously, a chorus of torment that echoed through the passageway, as Jasper's heart sank. His moment of triumph felt suffocated, smothered under the weight of doubt. Once again, he tightened his fists, determination surging through him. "Not if I embrace you," he shouted defiantly, gripping the light within him. "You may shape me, but you will not break me." The figure faltered, uncertainty flashing in its gaze. The shadows chilled, swirling with confusion. Had he struck a nerve? Could he actually turn this confrontation to his favor? The air shimmered, a fragile bridge forming between light and dark. The confrontation teetered on the edge of revelation. He felt the ground shift beneath him, balance tilting like a seesaw. In that critical moment, Jasper had to choose. Would he lean into the light, seizing the chance to shatter the darkness once and for all, or would he succumb to fear, allowing the shadows to swallow him whole, just as he reached out and explosion of darkness roared back, the shadows curling around him with terrifying intensity. "And then what are you waiting for?" she cried from somewhere distant but familiar, urging him on. His choice hung in the balance, teetering on the brink of liberation or ruin. Amidst the chaos, he felt the world around him shift, and he knew that whatever came next would define him forever. Was he ready for that? Would he step beyond the light and confront the ultimate truth? The battle had begun, and Jasper could only hope he'd done enough to emerge as the victor. The shadows pulsed ominously, the darkness swelling like an agonizing tide. Jasper stood at the precipice, caught between the haunting past and the flickering promise of illumination. His heart thundered like war drums, echoing the collective fears of all who had faltered before him. "I'm done running," he shouted, the words echoing in the vast expanse, ripping through the oppressive silence. "You don't define me. You're a part of me, but you're not all of me." The figure before him wavered, hurt flickering in its eyes, but it was overshadowed by the darkness swirling around. Jasper could feel the whispers tightening their grip, clawing at his resolve. "Enough," he declared, grounding himself. With every ounce of courage ignited from within, he surged toward the brilliant light, feeling the warmth envelop him, igniting the shadows around him like kindling. Tendrils of despair recoiled, realizing they had lost their grip. This is my truth," he shouted to the entity, which flickered, dark wings trembling under the weight of that proclamation. Suddenly, the ground began to quake. The entity's form twisted, its shrieks echoing like 1,000 voices crashing together. "You think you can escape me?" it shrieked through a mouthless void, its shape oscillating between horror and reality. "I am you." "No," Jasper responded, heart racing with raw determination. "You may have existed in my shadows, but I am more. I embrace the light within me." The warmth surged, wrapping around him like a protective shield. Jasper stood taller, feeling the grotesque entity lose its grip, shadows peeling back in a cacophony of shrieks. In that moment, he remembered laughter, memories of joy that once promised warmth. "Remember who you are," the woman's voice echoed, calm amidst the chaos. He glanced at her as tendrils of darkness began to unravel around him. Was she right? This could be his moment. His crossroads. With a guttural roar, he thrust his hands forward, unleashing the brilliant energy that surged from within. The light exploded like a supernova, engulfing the figure, sending it reeling into a spiral of despair. "You won't keep me captive any longer," Jasper shouted, the words slicing through the fog of doubt. The shadows shrieked as the brilliance expanded, consuming the darkness around him, fracturing it into shimmering dust before vanishing into the ether. With a final, desperate cry, the darkness faded into oblivion. Silence enveloped him, the absence of torment suddenly deafening. Jasper stood, breathless, heart pounding, the remnants of despair dissipating into the night like echoes of a forgotten dream. Emotions swelled within him, fear and vulnerability now mingled with triumph. He felt alive, exhilarated by the battle he had fought. Slowly, he turned toward the woman, who watched him with eyes wide, filled with a soft, fierce pride. "You did it," she breathed, stepping closer, the shadows behind her melting away like ice beneath the sun. "You claimed your truth." Jasper exhaled, the weight of his past no longer an anchor. "But at what cost?" "I embraced the past and fought for the truth, but more darkness may lurk around." The uncertainty crept back, reminding him that shadows could easily return. "True," she replied softly, "but you've found strength within, and that light will guide you through. Each moment you choose to face your fears, every battle you confront from this point on will only make you stronger." He nodded, feeling the resonance of her words. The city stretched out below them, lights sparkling like stars scattered on velvet. A new dawn was rising, a promise of uncharted paths, waiting for him to embrace them. As he took her hand, warmth surged between them, a connection igniting in the next chapter of their lives. "Together," he whispered, "we face whatever may come." The weight of the past met the promise of the future, and Jasper felt hope blooming like spring flowers breaking through the snow. A life unshackled, a venture anew. That moment was transformative, a spark illuminating the way ahead. They stepped toward the horizon, united, ready to chase not just dreams but the vibrant reality waiting upon the dawn. In the risible glow of both triumph and lingering trepidation, Jasper embraced everything he had fought for. This was merely the beginning of a newfound journey, and so, as they walked into the light, hand in hand, Jasper knew one thing for sure. The shadows would try to come again, but he was armed with a truth they could never take away now. What about you? Don't just walk away from this. You need to subscribe now. Hit that red button so you won't miss the monumental stories to come. This is the moment to show your support for these incredible journeys. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm, and let your presence be known. Flood the comments section with all your thoughts, reactions, and theories about this epic ending. We want to hear from you. And don't wait even one more second, share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this conclusion. You know they thank you. Join the community, keep the conversation alive, and stay tuned for the next adventure.